Gonna steal your sunshine and I'll shit on your parade. Don't get me started on doing Michael Caine. In my opinion matters, yours will fall in last place. I'm not shutting up and you'll be learning my name. Fifth in the family, but first in my mind. 1 out of 10, but I'm ranking just fine. We've only got now, there's no afterlife. Look, Mom and Dad, I'm just speaking my mind. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. Everyone's coming on Kyle tonight. Wait, what? No, nobody's coming on Kyle tonight. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking and drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking and drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die.
All right, everybody, we are live here with season 4, episode 14. Is this 14 now?
14, dude.
Jeez, we are blowing right through. It was only 14 weeks ago I ate that cow tongue.
Yeah.
Feels like it was just 14 days ago, really.
True.
You know, no,
True.
it feels like it was 14 weeks ago. This has been the longest time, I think, in most people's lives. You know, unless you were in war or really had to deal with like hard time in prison.
Yeah.
And everyone's getting all antsy and everything.
Yeah.
People don't want to wear masks. It's getting fucking nuts. It's getting crazy out there, people. But that's why we're here, to give you a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of break from the insanity that is ensuing all over the world.
Yeah.
This is Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up, aboard the houseboat Tommy Lee Jones. I am your host, Kyle Mocha, and we are joined, as always, by Mr. Justin Olimpado
What's up,
downstairs
dude?
right below me. How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. How are you?
You're good. You looking up at me? I'm looking down at you.
Hey, dude.
It's weird. I like to wave at my dick, and then it's like I'm talking to you. That's basically what's happening. Zach is, as always, finishing up our song for this week. So let's just jump right into who our special guest is. We are joined via like 3 different mediums right now. Platforms. Yeah. We are joined by Mr. Ted Felicetti. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Yeah,
Good.
I got my laptop in front of me, got my cell phone with the audio, and I'm watching the podcast on my iPod. So
this is
I've got a whole
perfect.
little-
Your
Nice.
screen time is going through the roof. Yeah, we dealt with a little technical difficulties with Discord earlier, so we are literally, as he said, going. He's using 3 things to understand what is going on right here.
Yes.
It's always ghetto here on the houseboat. It's what it is. We're built for speed, not pleasure. Now, as I said, Zach's working on that song, so when he gets down, we'll get things really rolling. But Ted is here. Ted is the frontman, lead singer for Don't Panic, and we're going to be showing one of his lyric videos for the new song Sheep and Wolves Clothing, which is really fucking catchy. That'll be during our second break. Our first break will be playing a Latin-influenced dance song, is what we started out to write. This was an undertaking. This is a weird one. This is strange. It is definitely the most unique thing, I think, that, at least vocally, and we'll get to that more later.
True.
What I did want to kind of talk about for a little bit is today it's Cinco de Mayo. That's why we're going Latin. That's why we're sipping on some Modelos. And I made a bunch of tacos earlier because it's not only Cinco de Mayo, it's Taco Tuesday. This was supposed to be the Taco Tuesday to end all Taco Tuesdays. Everybody's supposed to...
We got locked in from the coronavirus.
Yeah, exactly.
It all works out.
The coronavirus, a Mexican beard-named disease, is what's bringing us down, and it's obvious. It's obvious that that's how it's going to work out. But yeah, this was supposed to be a huge party. This was going to be real. Usually we wouldn't be on this week. This would be one of our break weeks that we'd be off for, and I hadn't planned that out. But I was realizing I could have had. Instead of hanging out with you motherfuckers, I could have had a fucking party, with a bunch of people. Oh, Zach's bouncing it now. He's on his way. Yeah. Oh, he's going to be here shortly. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Then we can really get things started. But yeah, it's Taco Tuesday, Cinco de Mayo. Everybody's stuck inside. I was at the post office yesterday, and I started thinking, people are starting to get maybe a little bit more patient with things, like waiting in line and stuff like that. I was like, maybe people, this is like you're at home all the time, you're not doing anything. So when you're out, you're not as, like angsty about things. You're not as like, get me to the fucking front of the line right now. Like you're not doing that insanity. But then me and you were talking about before, do you think it's just the masks are covering people's faces?
Oh,
and they're
they're
just mouthing out like, you motherfucking piece of shit. I hate you and I hate your face.
That's my mind.
Yeah,
that's going through my mind nonstop. So.
Yeah, anytime I'm out, I'm always just my mouth is covered, so my mouth is open because I don't have to worry about catching flies and shit like that. And people go and stop being a goob with your mouth hanging open all the time. So I just realized I'm walking around like. And then if I see a pretty lady, I'm like, hello, and I'm like mouthing things now. I'm going to have to really adjust because I'm going to go out of coronavirus mode to right into Me Too mode within a week. It's going to be terrible. It's not going to be good for anybody at all. It's not going to be good.
I thought the funny thing was we were at Weiss earlier and you saw that girl.
We were at beer time. Yeah, we stopped to get at the beer time place. The girl with the mask.
No. The girl that had the mask on and took the mask off.
Oh yeah. So 2 encounters. The beer time one was yesterday. Yesterday,
the lady didn't have a mask today.
Okay, so there's one lady at beer time without a mask, and then there was a lady in Weiss who I just stared her down. I'm just kind of like, are you serious, lady? You don't get this. This lady in Weiss had a mask on. She's in the chip aisle, and we had already kind of gone by her, and you're just like, oh, okay. And she walks away, and then I see out of the corner of my eye her pull her mask away from her face, and she pulls it away, and then coughs out of her mask, and then puts the mask back on.
Yep.
She didn't want to get the inside of her mask dirty? Is that...
Our drummer was grocery shopping, and he said he saw a lady walking around and pulling her mask down and eating a sandwich.
What?
While she was going grocery shopping.
How?
With her mask.
Hey, I don't think you should just be eating a sandwich in the middle of a grocery store any old time. I didn't think that was a standard thing that people just thought
they were hungry.
She was really hungry.
To eat.
Well, you don't shop on an empty stomach. She was kind of half resolving that. She was getting to not. So the first half of her shopping was all the frozen food and all the ice cream that she really shouldn't buy. And then at the end, she got vegetables. She did the opposite of most people. She started with the shitty food, and then she got full up on that hoagie. Now, was she wearing gloves? Did he mention if she was wearing gloves or not?
He did. I forgot to ask.
That would have been fucking good.
Because that's the other thing. I saw a lady yesterday wearing gloves.
Yeah.
And we had to go bring a bunch of scrap metal. We were cleaning out the garage and brought a bunch of scrap metal because they just opened the junkyard yesterday. And we stopped I had to grab a pack of cigarettes, so I go in, and there's a lady with gloves on and no mask trying to use them to cover her face. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't understand how people aren't getting it. You used the great analogy earlier that somebody had used.
It was some post on Facebook.
Yeah, just like the whole idea of if I were to pee my pants and I have pants on, you're not going to get wet. But if I take my pants off and you're standing right there and I pee, you're probably going to get wet. So it's good for you and me to both be wearing pants in this situation, because otherwise you're just covered in piss. And the only person I know that likes to be covered in piss is named Mr. Zachary. Oh, Stormin, last week you had a 5-minute open on your beer. I listened back to the podcast, and it was ridiculous. But this one,
5
one
minutes?
pop, it was you had popping noises in it. It was
My
crazy.
headphones are all fucked up.
Oh, fucked up headphones. All right. Well, Zach is here, so that means we can get into drinking our beer for the evening. So let's get into what are we drinking.
We drink it so you don't have to. Review it in the morning from the bathroom. Cheap booze and craft brews. Review it in the morning from the bathroom. What are we drinking? What are we drinking? Yeah!
Chuggity chug chugs. All righty. Okay, so as I already mentioned, we are sipping on Modelo. This is our pacing beer for this evening. We've been sipping on it. It's much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. I want to try the dark.
I want to try the dark. I've had the Modelo Negro in the past. I don't know the last time I had a regular
special,
Modelo.
Though, or is this a Modelo?
Yeah, Special.
No, this is just the regular.
Is the
Modelo.
regular? Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing especial about it at all. But it's good. It is good. It is decent drinking beer. I've been drinking a lot of that Lucky Strike lately, so my palate has kind of, just plummeted. It's just plummeted down. It's $14 after tax for a 30-pack. It is not doing anybody any good except getting me kind of drunk. Miller Lite. That is the Modelo of America. That is literally, I feel like they're the exact same beer. But when they're in the bottle, I think it's going to taste like Corona. I feel like just my ignorant brain takes over.
Infinitely better from the bottle than from the can. It's noticeably better.
Yeah.
It's not good, but it's noticeably better.
Noticeably better, yeah. Now, we are also, every week we try to find a weird beer, something we've not enjoyed in the past. We've been looking at this one for a while. We've been looking at a lot of Flying Dog. Beer Time down in East Stroudsburg is where we buy all of the beer that we enjoy on this wonderful show. They're awesome down there.
Yeah.
They've got a great supply of beer. They're staying stocked up. If you're a smoker, they've got all your smoking needs. If you're another type of smoker, they've got a lot of those needs as well. Yeah. Ashtrays,
they
water.
Sell crack?
They sell crack.
Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, if you're a crack addict, they got it for you.
I thought you meant by smoker.
Yeah, if you're a crack addict, you smoke
you
crack.
You a smoker? Yeah, I dabble in crack a little bit. That's not what I was asking.
Only when I drink, though. Only when I drink.
I'm a social crack smoker.
Socially. I don't think about it unless someone's like, here, do you want some? And I won't finish the crack pipe. I'll leave it there for a child or something to find. All right, so Flying Dog Numero Uno Mexican Lager is our featured special beer of the week. It's a Mexican-style lager brewed with agave nectar and finished with lime zest. Now, all of those things, and including the fact that it's made by Flying Dog and has some wonderful Ralph Steadman artwork on it.
Is that who? Is that the guy?
Yeah, Ralph Steadman.
It's wild.
He's the guy who did all of the Hunter S. Thompson stuff. So all Fear and Loathing, everything. So he is contracted, or I don't know if he's still alive. I think he might be close to not being alive. He does a lot of just ink, and I don't know if his painting is watercolor, but some of it really looks like...
It smells really fucking good, man.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to give this a crack into.
This smells really good.
As always, Zach's been here for 30 seconds. Ooh, yeah, and he's got 2 beers open. Oh, this is definitely better than what we've been forcing ourselves to drink.
This is
already
really
off
good.
Smell. All right, so give it a little sipper.
I got 1 beer open.
1 beer open? You killed the Modelo? That's a champ. That's a champ right there.
That's good.
Yeah, it's got that, you feel like it's going to have a bite like an IPA. It's got that warmness, but it ends kind of like just a lager. It ends more of like a wheat beer. You definitely get that lime zest on the end there. It's, do you think the artwork is better than the beer itself? Because I kind of am siding on that side of things right now.
No, I like the beer a lot.
I think the beer's really good. I think I could
the
drink a
artwork
bunch of
is
these.
awesome.
I think I like the Stedman better than the actual
flavor. I don't know
flavor.
if you're going to be able to drink a bunch of these. I feel already in my mouth, this is going to get a little metallic.
Metallic? It's going to dry it out, too?
After a few... it's good,
Get some mouth noises for the ASMR fans.
Two or three of these down, and your mouth is going to be like that.
Yeah.
That pucker.
It's going to be a little tinniness to it. Just a little weirdness. All right. So, Ted, is your beverage of choice usually Miller Lite? Has that what's been getting you through, or are you a liquor fan at all, or what else have you been down in during this time?
I drink a lot of Miller Lite.
Yeah.
But I had since I started drinking legally. Joss Bodwell got me into it as my training wheel beer, and I just never got off of it. So
I always said Miller Lite's my retirement beer. It's the beer that when I go, I don't feel like trying anything else. I can just retire to Miller Lite, and I know I'm not going to ever be offended by it. I've never had bad Miller Lite, and I've also never had great Miller Lite. I mean, great Miller Lite might be Miller High Life. Like, that might be great Miller Lite.
It's the champagne of beer.
It is. I've been wanting to buy the big champagne bottle case that they've got at Beer Time as well.
You know what is good about Miller Lite, too? Almost any bar I've ever been in that, like, I've never been there before, my first time there.
You can say Miller Lite.
Even if it looks like a shady joint,
Yeah.
if they got Miller Lite on tap, I'm just like, okay, I'll have the Miller on tap. That's fine.
Yeah, I know, and you'll know immediately if it's not good, and you can judge the whole place off them. If you drink it, you're like, that tastes like a Floods Miller Lite from 7 years ago, and you just know that you don't need to drink it. Yeah. Not to bash local businesses while they're down or anything like that. But they're better now. They're better now. It's great. I've said it in the past on the show. I only ever drank Yingling Lager on tap at Floods for the first 5 years of my life of being a legal drinker. I'd had it in bottles, and then I had it on tap there. And I went, oh, it does taste different on tap. This is so much better.
Yeah, it does.
And then
I'm bougie. I just drink out of the bottle every
day. Oh, it definitely has a different taste. But then I realized that Floods hadn't changed the tap line in a while, and I was enjoying the taste of the buildup of yeast inside of it for years.
Yeah, the sweetness. Probably
it was so good. And then I went to Jock's one day, and I had one there, and I don't know why I guess I only really went there for dollar mixed drinks and shit like that. Yeah. Front row, Jock and Jill's back in the old days. Right. And I took a sip of it. I'm like, this doesn't taste good. Just give me a Miller Lite. And the Miller Lite tasted fine. I guess the Floods line was just so wonderfully sweetened. And then they redid their whole tap system, redid all their lines, and I don't like drinking Yingling anywhere anymore.
Now it's all clean.
It's all tasting good.
It's
like people say in Italy, when they changed laws and regulations, and people weren't able to smoke anymore when they made food, that the flavor changed, and it was because the guys used to make their marinara sauce with a freaking cigarette hanging out of their mouth. So how much ash probably dropped in, and you didn't realize it added some good taste to it.
Delicious. I like my bars covered in piss.
That's what I enjoy.
Disgusting.
That's why K's is always a solid choice. If you're just walking around town, K's is a solid choice. And you get to hang out with Jen, and Steve-O's usually there too. So that's always a good time. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, as we've been trying to do over the last couple of weeks, we've been trying to find things that are happening in the world that are unrelated to coronavirus. So here we go with what's happening. I think I did it. I think I nailed it this week. I think I have 2 things.
All right.
It's only 2. But there are 2.
Okay.
What's happening, Justin? Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening in the world? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Always terrifying myself at the end of that one.
Yeah.
Always freaking myself out. All right, guys, so what's going on in the world? I think the biggest news in the last couple of days has to be that they have announced who is going to be, and I forget, we didn't look it up. We didn't say if it was a show or a movie, but they are making a live action Tiger King. They're making, like the Lion King. Jon Favreau is going to direct it. It's going to be all about tigers and everything. But they officially cast Joe Exotic, and it looks like we are getting Senor Nicolas Cage as Joe Exotic. Now, I had my hopes set on Thomas Lennon. He did a couple appearances, and it pretty much was just like a more southern Lieutenant Dangle, and it worked. He did a really good job. And then I know most people were pushing for Spade. Right. Most people were really thinking they wanted David Spade.
He was really pushing for it, too.
It's just the Joe Dirt thing. That's literally, just people go, oh, he's a crazy gay redneck. So is David Spade, right? Just make him do it.
David Spade
I don't think that works.
No, but that's what they think. Yeah, did you have anybody in mind before, Ted, before they announced Nick Cage that you thought would have done it, or do you think Nick Cage is a good choice?
He's fine. He's fucking crazy. So
yeah,
he'll do literally any movie.
Yeah. Like in the last couple of years, he's been making
we had enough money,
1,000 of them.
Hey, Nick Cage, you want to be in a movie about a man who steals eggs and shoves them in his ass?
And he would
goes crazy in his own house.
Yeah, he'd be
but
like,
we'll give you $2 million.
He'd be like, can we call it Bad Lieutenant 3? Can we call it Bad Lieutenant? We call
I don't know. After Color Out of Space and
what was
Mandy?
and then what was the Mom and Dad?
Mandy, yeah.
Yeah, Mandy, like that.
Mandy
when that
is
trailer
fucking
came
great,
out, I was like, "Oh, we're entering a weird."
It.
Still
It's
have not
so
watched
good,
it,
man.
but that and Mom and Dad
it's
both.
crazy.
It's I like. See, I'm all right with Nick Cage, and I made a meme that said anybody that
I
doubt
love Face Off.
Exhibit
Yeah,
A,
yeah.
and I put a picture of him in Con Air. He does a
Con
wonderfully
Air's great,
terrible Southern accent in that. So if you just take that character and age him 30 years,
Raising Arizona is a great
Hell yeah.
movie.
he's a
I
great
love
redneck
that
in
one.
that. He has experience in the redneck field, and he has experience in the crazy field just his entire fucking life. You
Is
know?
Nick Cage the best actor of all time?
Maybe because he like convinced the world that he wasn't. Maybe it's the whole devil thing. What's the greatest trick the devil ever played? Is convincing the world he didn't exist. The greatest trick Nick Cage ever played was
convincing us that
winning
he's the
an
greatest.
Oscar in like '93 and then having 20 years of the most batshit crazy career
Maybe he's just
following
having
that.
fun. He's just like, this movie sounds wild, let's do it.
When I get to be attacked by bees, all right, cool, I'll do it.
Yeah.
See, I love him in Adaptation. It's one of my favorite movies. He plays Charlie Kaufman and Charlie Kaufman's twin brother, who is a made-up character. But it's all about Charlie Kaufman, the writer, trying to adapt a book about a flower and not knowing how to do it. And Nick Cage crushes it. He does a great job in that. He does a great job in this movie, Matchstick Men.
Matchstick Men, yeah.
that's
So
That's
fucking
good
great.
one.
He's done a lot. So I am willing, after what he's been doing the last couple of years, like he did his weird shit, like that.
I mean, he did his real big money movies.
Yeah, well, he
You
got
know what I mean?
he lost all of his money to fucking what was that Ponzi scheme guy? That fucking guy like 10 years ago. Remember that
Madoff?
Madoff, yeah, Bernie
Bernie
Madoff,
Madoff.
the bad Bernie. And he lost all of his money to him, and that's when he started doing like Wicker Man, and I mean, Wicker Man is just so over the top, amazingly bad.
Yeah.
It's just you don't ever need to see it twice. Unless you're really stoned, it's a good dumb time. So,
I don't know where I was in my life or mind that I saw that movie
and thought it was good.
and I was just like, oh, it's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I like that.
Did you
And
see
then-
the original
you were
before
probably like
that, though?
14
No.
when it came
Oh,
out.
so you had no idea.
I had no idea
Oh,
about
yeah.
it. It just looked fucking cool. I watched it, was like, oh, that was pretty cool. And then like over years and years, it's just been beaten in my head. Wicker Man's a bad movie.
Yeah,
It's
well,
a bad movie.
But they
Like,
do that with a lot of those remakes, though.
What's
it?
Like a lot of kids
I never
saw
watched
the
it
new.
Yeah.
A lot of kids saw the new Friday the 13th, like the remake.
Yeah, the one from 10 years ago. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And
then
not the
And not the
original.
The
original.
original's a bad movie, though. It's a
Yeah,
good bad
I mean,
movie.
it is.
It's a
but
good
I
B
mean,
movie. It's a good B movie.
yeah, it is for sure.
You guys, I thought I gave
I like
you.
schlock, so
It's fun. It's entertaining. Like if you can't,
Yeah.
it's kind of like if you can't make fun of yourself, you can't make fun of anybody. If you can't make fun of the movies you love the most, like if you can't admit that you love terrible, like oh, what are you doing? Where's your fun that you're having in this? I don't get it. Now I'm excited to see they haven't announced anybody else for this movie, but I'm excited to see who they get to play Carol Baskins and the rest of the crew. I still think McConaughey
I think
should
it's
play
a
the guy
series.
with no legs.
I think it's a
It's a
TV
series.
series.
It's-
I
oh, it
agree.
is a series.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, the no legs guy, McConaughey. Give him the Gary
Yeah.
Sinise, Lieutenant Dan, situation, and he'll fucking run away with that. He will run away with that. All right.
this
So
is
the
not
other
going to
thing,
be. It's not going to be fine art for starters. So
Oh.
I'm not too worried about who does.
I
what
hope
that
it's
day.
I hope it's a white trash version of a white trash story. Like that's really. I hope it's a train wreck almost. And I hope I don't ever want to wish for somebody's any harm on any person, but somebody's going to get actually attacked by a tiger in the making of this movie, and it's going to be life imitating art like the hardest way, or art imitating life imitating art. Who knows? There's some level there. Now the other thing that's going on that's kind of the scariest news, unless you're really scared by Nicolas Cage, is the murder hornets have arrived.
Yeah,
We've got
dude.
murder hornets.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I want to see one. I can't
They
wait.
look so fucking big.
No, in real life.
Yeah, I don't want to see one. I saw somebody post like, "Don't worry, I got a bug zapper tennis racket. I'm good." And I was like, "Yeah, cool."
Those are,
But
dude.
A bug zapper.
if it's not on your back, you're fine.
Yo,
and you can see
Me
it.
and Nate found one once.
What'd you do
I
to
have
each
one.
other?
Oh, we just beat each other all day with the fucking bug zapper tennis racket.
Does it do any actual harm?
hurts.
Does it?
It
okay.
hurts,
I was gonna say
yeah. I got
accidentally
one of those.
touched one of the hanging ones.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you think you'd be safe, Ted, if you were going out in the world, you knew there were murder hornets, and you just had a tennis racket bug zapper? Do you think that would be enough to protect you?
Well, for starters, I do have a tennis racket bug zapper.
Good.
However, I feel like the first murder hornet might short it out.
Oh,
But,
yeah. There's a flock of them?
Yeah. I don't know. Who gives a whatever. I don't.
They're going to
this
come.
point-
They're going to come
This
and
man
murder
is
all
not
of us.
afraid of fucking bees whatsoever.
He's not afraid of
Ted has
bees,
no fear of
hornets. You're not allergic to bees, are you? Because I grew up with that fear.
I've never been stung by anything, so I have no idea.
Oh,
Are
you've lucked
you've
out.
never been. You better knock on wood, but
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
coming. The
How'd you-
murder hornets are
that's
coming
wild.
for you. Now, the one thing I thought immediately was, if it doesn't already exist, how quickly till there's a band called the Murder Hornets? How quickly till a band that's failing, that's just like, oh, we need
It's
to do a
probably
Devil Wears
already-
Prada. You think it's
I
already?
did look it up. I thought the same thing,
Yeah.
that it was already abandoned. It's not.
It's
already
not.
abandoned.
Keep your eye out.
When I signed up for ASCAP recently, I thought the same thing about Tiger King, and I named my publishing Tiger King Music.
Whoa!
So yeah,
Oh.
so my songs are all under Tiger King Music.
That's
There was-
amazing. That is
Yeah, so-
fucking now I had a very similar but on a way less scale when Facebook first started letting you put your own URL. I don't know why I ever changed it. I made my URL the artist formerly known as Prince. So it was facebook.com/the artist formerly known as Prince. And then I changed it, and like 3 months later he died, and I went to try to get it back, and somebody had taken it already. I'm like,
Of
oh.
course.
But
Yeah.
then I realized all I was going to get is really weird friend requests from people that are sad about Prince. Being like, fuck you, Kyle Mo
You
or
should just take it
KM
over his
Shoremount. I could have.
just become Prince died, and you just immediately are.
If I was the size of my brother Keith, I'd be able to pull that off. If I was a tiny little guy, I'd be able to pull it off.
Just do it.
I could try. Fat Prince. It's that joke. There's the Nikki Glazer joke at some roast where after Prince died, Jeff Ross is dressed up like Prince, and she goes, "You're like the Prince of Wales, the animal. You're fat." That's the Prince of Wales that I'd be. I'd be that Prince. All right, so nobody seems to be really. I'm worried about the murder hornets. Just if they actually attack
I'm
me,
excited.
I'm terrified. Bugs are just gonna get bigger
Jess,
now.
Jess says that she watched a video of one taking down a mouse.
A mouse.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that video.
Ooh.
I also saw a guy who was on the Animal Planet or one of those. He intentionally had one in tweezers, and he put it on his arm,
Oh, I
Oh,
love
right,
that.
dude.
Coyote. What's his name?
And-
Coyote something.
made him sting him, and his whole arm blew up like a balloon. And he said it was pretty bad. It hurt a lot.
Jesus.
I bet.
Well, Justin did some research and found out that they are actually they're not only deadly, but they are delicious.
Yeah, apparently Japanese people eat them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
of
it's probably
course.
got a lot of crunch and a lot of protein in
But
there.
also, I was also reading that because they're native to Japan, the honeybees over there know how to kill them. They
Oh,
swarm
yeah.
it, form it into a ball, and then flap their wings until they cook them.
They basically
Yeah, I saw
create a
that.
little microwave oven and
pretty fucking
heat them
crazy.
up from within a swarm of bees. That is
But they will also
the
kill
beauty of nature right there.
40 honeybees in a minute.
Yeah. See,
Yeah, I've
that's
seen them tearing the nests apart and stuff. I've seen that before years ago.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Just
crazy.
didn't know that they'd be here, I guess.
And we're right back to the bees. Right back to the bees. All right. Well, every week we like to get together, write, record, mix, and master a brand new song.
Mix and master in
Quotation marks. Yeah, all of this. All of
Write
this.
a song in
Write a song in quotation marks. And right now we are writing. I guess it's an album. We're calling it Brunch and Kyle Mocha are our dance guns.
the dance guns.
The Dance Guns,
Dance Guns.
by Brunch and Kyle Mocha. So the whole album is called Brunch and Kyle Mocha are the Dance Guns with a Z by Brunch and Kyle Mocha.
Yes.
We're getting shorter with our titles, at least. The last one was 48 words long.
Yeah.
So last week we did kind of more, I guess it would be compared to this, a straight up dance song, but with the brunch flair. So it's always going to have either something country or something death metal or something in between, which means anything in the world thrown into it. And this week for Cinco de Mayo, we wrote a Latin music inspired dance song. It is the weirdest. It is the weirdest thing we have done vocally for a couple of reasons. First of all, we're keeping with the theme of last week where we're picking a Netflix show or movie and we're writing about that. So this one is about a show that is
a pretty cool
called
documentary.
or a documentary. It's 28-minute long documentary. It is really, really interesting. It's called Lorena, Mujer de Pies Ligeros, which translates to mean Lorena, the light-footed woman. And it's all about a woman who lives in the serene mountains of Mexico on a goat farm that her family's just been running for forever, and she can run.
Yeah, she's a marathon runner.
She's a marathon runner, but she runs in sandals, and she grew up they gave her shoes at one point, and she looks at these shoes and she goes, I'm not going to wear them. People that wear these shoes are always behind me, is what she said. And I was like, this chick is fucking badass.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Yeah, she's
Running
used
up
to
and down
running up
mountains.
rock mountains after goats
With sandals.
With sandals.
Yeah.
So running a marathon in sandals and a dress. Literally, she's in sandals and a dress.
What a woman.
What a woman. What a badass person. What just an amazing character to do kind of a study on. So what I did is I wrote lyrics, very simple lyrics, and then I translated all of them into Spanish. And then I recorded myself. We recorded me singing all of the lyrics in Spanish. So this is for our Spanish-speaking
This is an
fans.
entire song in Spanish.
And we went with, as far as, Zach, if you want to say the music side of things, we went with kind of the Latin beat, that Latin flair.
We
but
had
then,
to do the...
Yeah, the classic Latin.
Yeah.
Boom, cha-boom, cha-boom.
Yeah, we had to get that going.
classic Latin beat.
And then we are also using the wonderful almost 40-year-old Yamaha DX7 that we came into, so we are using that for a lot of the most of the keyboard sounds and just anything else.
I just play that thing all day. I just sit there and just play the fucking. It's so fun.
It's fun, and you get some
It
wonderful
feels
noise.
like a piano.
Yeah, because we were saying last week, it's weighted like that, so it's actually has the response
amazing.
of a real keyboard. So for this, we started going heavy at one point. And then we went pretty heavy with certain parts of it. And me and you both kind of had the same thought that we're writing Mexican feeling music, something that's got a Latin feel to it. I was going to suggest, hey, maybe you write a Santana-style guitar solo. But then you...
But it was too late.
It was too late.
Myself.
You couldn't help yourself. You're obsessed with the Mars Volta, so it just became a Mars Volta-influenced Mexican dance song.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they are he is at least, is he the only one that's of Mexican heritage in the band, or is lead singer?
No, him and Cedric, I believe, are both.
Yeah, El Paso boys at least.
They're from El Paso.
Yeah.
I want to say I think Omar is Mexican. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
If Cedric is.
Yeah.
Or not.
So either way, we stuck with Latin influence. So that's on the broadest terms that we can make it. We wrote a Latin influenced dance song. Now the song is called Lorena.
Right.
That is again the name of the lady. The translation for again the hook is Lorena, light-footed woman. Now the lyrics for this song again are very, very simple lyrics, but I don't want to tell you what they are because they sound so much better in Spanish. What time did we come in on this song?
408.
4:08. We are really getting good at writing
And there's
short
some
songs.
extra shit at the end.
There's
anyway.
so we got an extra probably 15, 20 seconds of whatever zhuzhing up you did at the end. All right. So as always, written, recorded, mixed, and mastered in about this one almost exactly 3 hours.
Yeah.
And we have not listened to it till this moment. So you are hearing it live alongside us for the first time, and if you like what you hear, we're going to be uploading it over the next day or two, so you'll be able to listen to it all of the time. It's a great summer dance song. So here we go. Here is the Brunch Weekly original single, Lorena. We'll see you guys in just over 4 minutes to talk a little bit about Don't Panic and their new music video. Enjoy Lorena.
ella le encanta correr, ella ama su patria, la niña trabaja duro, ella dice que correr es fácil. Con querer ganar dinero, viver una vida de paz. No necesitas zapatos, no es así como ganas. Reina mujer de pies ligeros, reina mujer de pies ligeros. Ella le encanta correr, ella ama su patria, la niña trabaja duro, ella dice que correr es fácil. Reina mujer de pies ligeros, reina mujer de pies ligeros. Correr, correr, sigo corriendo. Correr, correr, sigo corriendo. Correr, correr, sigo corriendo. Correr, correr, sigo corriendo. Reina mujer de pies ligeros, reina mujer de pies ligeros, reina mujer de pies ligeros, reina mujer de pies ligeros. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next guest on Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up.
All right, guys, again, there you have it. That is Lorena, our Brunch Weekly original single. And now we are joined. He's been here the whole entire time, but now he is officially being announced. Oh, we are joined by Mr. Ted Felicetti. Uh-oh. We got a little issue. We got a little issue on the talkie side of things. So I'm just going to ramble a little bit more about that song. If you know Spanish at all, I would love if you could reach out to me and let me know.
Good.
All right, there we go. Wonderful.
Justin, can you just turn down?
Sorry about that.
Turn down, yeah, okay. But yeah, no, it's very, very, very basic. I feel like the lyrics to that song are pretty much like "See Jane run, see Dick walk." They're very, very basic lyrics.
It sounded great.
I'm glad you enjoyed. Thank you very much. And speaking of things that I enjoy, you guys don't panic. Your band, you have released yet another single. We featured Fall of 99. Is it Fall of 99 or Back in 99? Was it?
Fall of 99.
It is Fall of 99. I keep going back because the video is Back to the Future, so I keep making you think it's Back in 99.
So it's like a play. It's like a play on Bryan Adams' Summer of '69.
I don't know why I did not put that together on my own.
Dumb,
I'm such a
Kyle.
dumb moron. This is what we were talking about before. How many
am I
stupid
even
idiots are there like me?
God.
So you released that a couple of months back, and you've been releasing slowly singles throughout the last couple of months, and the most recent is Sheep in Wolves Clothing, which is going to be our featured single. So I kind of just want to talk about that song specifically right here before we play it. What was kind of the writing going into it for you? Is this a song that was something you had sat on for a while? Because you guys kind of had a hiatus before you came back and made your new resurgence. How long has this song been working in your head?
I actually wrote almost all. So we have 8 new songs coming out total.
Nice.
I wrote all of them in August and September.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now
It's all brand new stuff.
Perfect. But not Brand New the band, because that guy's a prevert. You don't want to be associated with them preverts anymore.
I don't know about
apparently.
that. Right?
No.
You mean anymore?
Anymore.
When did you want to be?
I always,
associated?
before I knew he was a prevert, I wanted to be associated with him. All right, so Sheep and Wolves Clothing, you guys did a lyric video. It's a big trend in the last couple of years of lyric videos, and you found a really, really awesome artist to do it. What is the who is the person that actually created the video for you, and how did you come in contact with them?
I think his name was Jake. I don't actually remember his name. But at the end of the video, his little company logo goes on there. So if you want to know, you can go at the end of it. But I don't know. I think I was just skimming through bands and checking out music, and I saw a lyric video that was oh, that's pretty good. And I at the end of it said the company name, so I just looked up his company, and I was I hit him up and emailed him, and he's from Texas. He's just some dude who makes music, lyric videos. Yeah,
hell yeah! I was saying the other day on Facebook,
so
I'm gonna have to steal this guy once my solo album comes out, or maybe even for some brunch weekly original singles. Maybe we'll get him to do one of these.
It's cheap.
All the Spanish ones. All the Spanish ones. Well,
he was cheap.
And it looks really awesome. This is this all collectively, all the 8 songs, are they collectively an album that you are just kind of slowly releasing, or are you looking at more as 8 individual singles?
Both.
Okay. Hell yeah.
So we recorded 11 songs total. 3 of them were old songs we redid, and then the other 7 or 8, whatever it is, are brand new. And originally, what I wanted to do was just put an album out.
Yeah.
But I got convinced that no one ever wants to get an album anymore. People don't really buy full records or CDs, or people just want music all the time.
It is kind of like the mass of people seem to have gone away. There's still the niche that love it. They're always going to be that. But we kind of went backwards. We're in the 60s now, where singles are king.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So we decided we'll record it as an album. So we recorded it all together. We used all the same, we did the drums for every song in one weekend, and then we did, the guitar sounds and all that stuff. And we recorded it all together. So we're releasing them every 6 weeks. So there's going to be songs at the end, it's going to be in October or whatever, that we recorded the previous November. It's and we'll have new songs writing and stuff in the meantime. But it's a good way to stretch out your content so that you're always doing something without having to always be doing something.
I like that approach, and I think the attention span on a lot of people is I can one little thing right now. We try to get people to watch our hour and 45-minute show sometimes, and you're just kind of hey, and they're yeah, I don't have to commute to work anymore.
Yeah, we should do a 3-minute show.
We should do a 3-minute show.
Way more popular.
Which is why we started putting out just the clips and stuff, and those have been getting good traction, and then we realized, okay, we got to give people what they want in that way. So I thoroughly appreciate you looking at it and thinking of it in that light. Yeah.
I mean, there's like, Joe Rogan does like 2 hours and 45 minutes sometimes too. So,
yeah, but he's like a cult leader.
Yeah, he is almost a cult leader. He is.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He is nearly Alex Jones. He's nearly there. I appreciate him. Okay, probably almost as much. They both do their thing in their own insane ways. All right. Well, before we go into any more about the band and everything, I do want to let's jump into Sheep in Wolves Clothing. If you guys like what you hear, when we come back, Ted will at some point give you all like the places to find it and all of that shit. But let's just jump right in to Sheep in Wolves Clothing. Is there anything you want to say about the song before we jump into it, or just let it roll?
This is collectively in the 4 members of our band. I think this is everyone's favorite song. I don't know if it's the best song we did, but everyone really liked how this one came out, and lyrically it was like the deepest one for me. So it's just about the same thing that people always feel, where you're in a big crowd of people and you don't feel like you belong in that crowd. Even if you do, you just feel like I'm different on the inside than I'm projecting to everybody else. So that's kind of what it's about.
I think that's the story of most everybody as a scene teen or something like that. Definitely, You're trying your hardest to fit in, but you're at the same time looking around like, oh, I don't.
Scene teens.
Yeah, scene teens, man. It's gonna be a show I'm gonna write. It's gonna be like the Freaks and Geeks of 10 years from now. Yeah, Teen Mom, scene teens. All right, guys.
Scene Teen Mom.
So let's jump into it. Here it is. Don't Panic's Sheep in Wolves Clothing. We'll see you guys in a couple minutes and more with Ted after that. Enjoy the single.
I'm a sheep in wolf's clothing. It's hard to do the line.
Alrighty, guys, there you have it. There it is, the music, the lyric video for Sheep in Wolf's Clothing. Now, I gotta ask you, because for me, if I were to do a lyric video, I would be scouring over every single word and every single, like, I make sure I use the right two here. Did the Jake or whoever the guy that made it, did he scour over it just as much as you to make sure there were typos or like ever like throw back anything to you, or were you like anal about it up front?
No, so basically I've only done 2 lyric videos so far. We did one for No Time for Second Chances, and then we did this one. And they basically just type exactly what you sent them, and they assume that
you're good.
You knew what you were sending them.
Yeah.
Right.
So they would send me like the proof first before sending me the final, and and I read over their Word document. I sent them like 100 times.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Even then, I remember the first one. The guy, I said I like didn't put an apostrophe in the word your, or that kind of stuff, and it was like, I sent it to some other person to proofread. My brother's way better at English than I am, so I usually send it to him to look over. But yeah, whatever you send them, that's what you get. So make sure you know how to spell, or have someone who knows how to spell.
That's yeah. I mean that would be my worry about it, is that I would like send something and I would use the wrong your, the wrong there, the wrong to, and then
I've done it.
Oh my god! In posts, and then now that on Facebook, someone can see that you edited a post like the last couple of years. I'm like, make sure. I remember getting really fucking drunk like 5, 6, 7 years ago and making this long fucking post hammered that was just like angry at some chick. It was just some dumb like juvenile post, and I was here and I was rip roaring drunk, and I made this long post, and then my brother proofread it and went, all right, 4 a.m. drunk as hell Kyle, not a single grammar or spelling error. And I was just like, yeah, even shit-faced me is anal and paranoid about making sure he doesn't look like an idiot, so that's good. But that is that song. I mean, No Time for Second Chances, that was the song that we got to play back in January. I think our first or second episode of this season we played that on. And you had sent me that about 2-3 weeks before that episode aired, and I really, really, really was upset. Like, I am a sucker for pop punk. I love anything that is catchy. When we did our math rock album over those couple of weeks, and coming out of that, we were like, we need to do something that was a little relaxing. I was like, just pop punk. And me and Zach were on the same page. We're like, let's just do some pop punk. Like, just need it. It's just, especially this time of year, it just always has been something that's like rung true to me. But for you, I have known you in the punk and the pop punk world for the better part of now 2 decades. There was this wonderful, wonderful place back in the day that was called Toast. That was this little, on Quaker Alley in Stroudsburg, this side street. It's literally an alley, and it eventually became like a hair salon or something like that, and now it's just like an empty building. But I remember seeing it burned. It did burn at some point. And then, but I remember seeing you, your brother, and I forget who, I don't know who else was in the band, but you were in shortwave radio way back in the day, and I had your demo.
His name was Ian.
Okay. Now, I've the last 20 years, more or less, I've known of you in music, and then about like 10, 12, or probably now like 13, 14 years ago, you and I worked a bunch of shows together when I was helping out with ECI, me and our buddy Dave. We would run shows, this small little venue that was a church. It wasn't the church. It was a church that we ran shows at, and then also the Masquerade. So you and I had a couple trips down to Masquerade to run shows there. I'd just take money at the door while you do all the real work. And I remember bonding with you over 3 bands. I remember Bayside, the Beatles, and Foo Fighters. It was just those 3, and you can tell when you write a catchy, fun song and you can and you know the person and you go, yep, I can see like where your influences come from on that. But then I also know that you and our friend Steve-O are both huge Face to Face fans, which is a band that I got into 5 years after. I remember I got Reactionary probably in like 2003 or 2002 or something like that. And I did not ever want to take that out of my mix, you know, like of like the 10 albums I had playing. So hearing you guys writing and releasing this music now is it feels like a return to form, to a sound that I grew up with. And I wonder what you individually and the whole band, what your reception has been to the sound. Are you getting a lot of fans in our age range? Are you getting younger people that are getting into it? What is like the demo that seems to be pulling for you guys?
So I love like graphs and numbers. So I'm always looking at our Spotify and iTunes and Facebook and Instagram, like demographic charts that they give you. And the age demo that's like the biggest for our band is like 25 to 35 years old. Like, right. You know, that's like, you know, the majority of people are that age where it's, you know, it's not young kids, but it's not people like in their 50s. It's just like right in that.
It's people that grew up listening to music like this that are still thirsting for something along those veins.
And this is like, for me too, I'm definitely going back as far as musical style and writing. I got really into the I've always been a huge Foo Fighters fan, but I got really into like doing some different stuff when I first started this band, and it was a little more like rock, edgy, like rock side of things, like even more like Tom Petty-ish. And and then when we started doing it again, I was just like, you know, every year since we took our break, because we stopped playing in 2011.
Damn.
And
I didn't realize it's been 9 years.
Yeah,
I guess 8 years before you started recording.
I started Don't Panic in 2009, right after Split 50 broke up. And we did 2 years. That was it. 2009, 2011. And then we got back together in 2019. So it was like, you know, eight years or so. But during the course of that 8 years, I would always talk to Keith, our bass player, who's like my best friend. And I would always be like, we'd always have this conversation. It's like, we should just do like a face-to-face style like record, or we should, you know, and like, let's just play again. Let's just do like a fun punk rock thing. And we'd always be like, yeah, it's an awesome idea. And then like, we just forget about it.
Like most awesome ideas. Yeah, it was good when we were talking about it.
We just keep living life. And then the next couple months later, we talk again. Yeah, you know what we should do? It's like, yeah, that's an awesome idea. And then we'd forget about it. And it just kept happening. So I'm happy to start doing this stuff because it's like very fulfilling.
Well, I remember. I mean, I'm assuming it was in that 2009 to 2011 era. You guys, I believe it was as Don't Panic, you were playing the wonderful former dive bar KC's. We did. In Stroudsburg, and I remember going to see you guys play there, and yeah, it was definitely, you guys were definitely going for more that rock feel. But I mean, it kind of makes sense coming out of Split 50. You had done Shortwave before that, kind of distance yourself a little bit. But this coming back, was it mostly we've just waited so long, and I just really have been wanting to do this, and we've been talking about it? Is that what pushed you guys back? And then how did it work out that just everybody, because it's the original lineup, right? It's the original four of you.
Essentially, yeah. So we had a different drummer in the first like year of the first 2 years, and then his name was Zach Kelsch, and he's like up in Scranton area, and he's like he recorded the first EP with us, but then after a year he wound up like doing other stuff, and then we got Anthony to play for us for the final, like in 2011. So it basically is the original lineup.
Yeah.
You know, we had 1 year where we didn't have the same person, but I don't know. My brother wound up joining the band Bowling for Soup 2 years ago as a bass player.
Yep.
And last summer, I still wasn't making music. And he gave me a call, and he was like, "Hey, we're going on tour. We're doing a co-headline tour with Real Big Fish, and do you want to come hang out?" And I was like,
that's a great phone call to get. Jesus.
Yeah. So I was just like, well, what do you want me to do? He's like, nothing. He's like, they just want you to come and drink beer. So it's like, all right, yeah, I could do that. That sounds easy. So I bought a plane ticket and flew out to San Francisco, and I met up with them, and I went on the tour. I flew out of like Miami or wherever, and at that point, I had not stepped foot in a venue or like on a stage in like 8 years. It really was like I hadn't done anything. And as soon as I got to the first date of the tour, I like walked backstage and walked onto the stage while everyone was setting up. And I was like, whoa, I was like, I missed this. Like, it was like, holy shit. Like, why was I not doing this for the last 8 years? And immediately every day after that, I was like getting more and more amped up to like get home and like call everybody in the band and be like, hey, do you want to do this again? And so as soon as I got home from that tour, I called up Keith, I hit up AJ and Anthony. I was just like, I want to write new songs and I want to like, play shows. And everyone was like, yeah, okay. Everyone was on board immediately. So
hell,
it was pretty easy. Yeah, it's really easy.
That's wonderful. It worked out great. And you already said that you guys recorded last fall, and then you're slowly releasing these singles. Now, it originally, nobody was planning for the COVID-19 to occur. You guys had a decent spring lined up. And you were supposed to, if I'm not mistaken, you were supposed to go on as tour support with the Ataris for a little, for like a month tour or something along those lines.
It wasn't that long, but we were supposed to do, so the week that they shut everything down, we were supposed to open for Bowling for Soup in Atlantic City. And that was supposed to be like the first good show we were going to play. And then we had a couple like area shows lined up in like Allentown and Stroudsburg and New Jersey, just like, local stuff. And then in almost right now, we were supposed to be doing 2-week tour with the Ataris. And then we were supposed to do a 2-week tour with Richie Ramone, who's like the drummer from the band, the Ramones.
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And all that has just been postponed and pushed back.
So that was gonna be my next question. I think concerts across the board, we were talking about this earlier, Justin and I, that they're not like refunding money like people that bought tickets to like, Zach and I were gonna go see Steely Dan. If you bought your tickets for Steely Dan, you have your
thing where you spend the money.
You have your tickets now, and whenever they decide that everybody can go back to having 20,000 people in one giant room together, you can go back, or even outside for that.
At least we know we can go see Ted sometime in the future.
Yeah,
those guys at Steely Dan might be dead.
Yeah. Steely Dan might not make it through. Steely Dan.
Yeah, they're all old.
They might not. You guys are a young crop of young crop of kids. Yeah. So that is then everything is kind of just like pushed back on hiatus. I'm assuming nobody is even pretending to try to book anything currently right now because we don't know what the landscape is going to be in a month, 2 months.
It's not exactly true. A lot of the stuff that's being postponed and pushed back, people have just kind of like started to set arbitrary time frames.
Okay.
And they're just like, yeah, let's see what happens. So,
hell yeah. Okay.
I noticed a lot of bands pushing dates to like September. It seems to be like August and September seems to be like the dip your toe in the water. But again, that's going to be like small stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
200 people, 300 people. If you're talking about, when am I going to get to go see Coldplay? Like, you're not going to get to see them until next year. Like,
no, I think this is the time that smaller bands are going to thrive because people are going to want to get out and...
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I do feel like this whole thing has kind of, in a lot of ways, there's been a lot of resets with this. Everyone's staying at home. Everyone's making their food at home. Everybody's spending more time with their family or whoever they live with along those things. And I really do hope that with everybody doing all of the online streaming that they've been doing and getting a lot of attention, there's all these different groups. You guys specifically have been having a wonderful time, it seems, at least a wonderful time doing your live streams on Facebook. You did that wonderful live trivia.
That was really fun.
That was so sweet. I do my little trivia thing that entertains my nieces and nephews and a couple of my friends, and I was watching that going like, oh, I should definitely get a computer that was made more recently than 2011 so I can do half the things that these people are doing. But there is a resurgence of local art going on right now. People are saying support local. People are people basically are bored, and now they have the time and the energy to invest in something that before they thought they didn't have. Yeah. And so hopefully after all this, that hangs on.
I agree.
And again,
I think it will. Like, if you ask yourself the question, like, what, it's May 5th right now. So let's say July 5th, there is a show like planned right now. You're like, it's a 100-person club. Would you go?
Yeah. Oh God, exactly.
I think most people would. I think most people are like, yeah, fuck it. I just want to get out of the fucking house. Like, I'm so tired of this. And I think that, you know, like we said, like the smaller stuff is going to thrive, and I think it's going to continue. And also what I think is cool is that this kind of stuff, like the streaming podcasts, bands playing games, and artists doing, you know, art online, like I think that's actually going to continue. I think people have seen that it's like super relevant.
Twitch
and super
is major, dude.
Oh yeah,
people are just excited about this stuff, and I think even when everything's opened up, everyone's going to keep putting out this like online content also.
Yeah. Now
it's part of the new game of all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like before, it was you get a label, you may put out a video, or even before videos, you just get a label. You get as much exposure as you can.
Get
then
it
you
as
go
much
on
debt
tour
as you can
so
to
you
one
can
company.
pay back the debt
exactly.
that you accrued. But now you're famous. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
there's the trade-off. But
now you have to sort of do everything.
Yeah,
you
the
have
DIY,
to be on social media.
DIY thing is definitely stronger now.
Sure.
Even though it felt like, I feel like 5 years ago, I felt like the DIY stuff, while it was like definitely there were plenty of people being able to do it, even 5-6 years ago, it wasn't as massively in the favor of the small guy.
No, definitely not.
And again, with the people sitting at home being able to spend their energy and put their attention towards something, that everybody's streaming all the fucking Netflix shit. People are watching Dropkick Murphys play when they did their St. Patty's Day thing. All the big things are getting views, sure.
Well,
but now you're sitting there on Facebook and you see something pop up, and why not join 30 of my other friends? And the other day you guys did the 3 videos that you have out right now, did a little watch party, and everybody that was in there were just bullshitting back and forth, just hanging out, talking, you know, with friends and people that are interested in like things. What was, when this all happened and the cancellation started happening for you guys, how quickly did you think like, hey, like the streaming thing is probably going to be our best approach? Did you give it like a little bit of time before we were like locked down, or did you just go, let's take our chance and jump?
Yeah. So Keith in our band, the bass player, is like the more social media, like he doesn't use it more, but he's trying to understand it more. So he was the one who's kind of pushing. As soon as we heard, like, as soon as our show got canceled in Atlantic City, he was like, we're gonna have to start coming up with ideas to do stuff online because we're not gonna be able to do shows. And originally, the people who did our music video, like the actual music video, were gonna try and film live shows at this place in Scranton, like the V Spot it's called.
Right.
I've played the spot before. It's a party.
Yeah, so they're gonna try and just do live shows with no crowd, and the V Spot was just gonna open up and let them do it. And every Friday they were gonna do it and have people, like, I don't know, donate $1 or whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were gonna do, but so they did one of those, and then the governor said no one's allowed to even be open anymore, so they couldn't even do that anymore. Like they lowered the amount of people you can be around to such a low number that it was like we can't even have a crew here to film stuff anymore. So they did one of those, but I even talked to them. I was like, you should start to look into doing that now, like again in like the next month, because like shows, like we said, can't happen for a couple months still, but people want to watch live stuff, new things. Like how many Netflix shows and how many things? How many times are you gonna watch the band you like play acoustic?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's really cool, but how many times a week is the singer of this band gonna play an acoustic set over and over? It's like, all right, I want to see a full band now. Like, I'm tired of the acoustic thing.
Well, I mean, I think people are finally realizing that there's other forms of media just beyond television. There are a lot of people that had no idea what the fuck was going on, or heard about it maybe from their children or from a friend, or had no idea what the fuck was going on. Like, with streamers blowing up in the last couple years, like Ninja being one of them, a lot of people looked at it and they're like, wait, he plays video games. Like, what the fuck does he do with
Oh,
video
yeah.
games? You
Stand-up
know what I mean?
comedians 2 years ago were making jokes like, my kid sits around and watches another guy play video games.
Yeah.
What's the deal
Well,
with this
now people are
shit?
starting to get it. Like, it's a form of entertainment in a sense, you know? It's just what somebody likes, you know?
Yep. Yeah. So with this release, Sheep in Wolf's Clothing, that came out officially, was that a week ago? This is about now?
4 days ago.
4 days ago. So damn, 4 days ago. So then people are looking forward to a mid-June release of your next single. Is that correct?
Very good. Yeah, June 12th is the next one.
June 12th. Wonderful. Well, we'll definitely gladly feature that song. Do you have any teaser? What is that song that's going to be the next one released? And
the song's called Alicia.
Okay.
And it's a little more like a mix of like, you know the band like Lit?
Yeah.
So it's like a mix of Lit and like Weezer sounding, I guess.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like,
you're speaking my language there. Jesus.
Yeah. So it was like the first song. I actually co-wrote it, and it's the first Don't Panic song I've co-wrote. And I co-wrote it with our drummer Anthony.
Hell yeah.
So I like it a lot. I'm excited for people to hear that one.
Now, is this going to also have a lyric video, or did you do another music video, or is this going to be just a single released?
We were just talking about that today. It's going to have something. It's not going to be a music video because that takes a little bit more time than 6 weeks to plan.
Yeah, true.
And with the way things are, like we couldn't even shoot one anyway. But it'll have a lyric video or like maybe live footage or footage of us in the studio. It'll have something.
It'll have something to it. Hell yeah.
Every song we release this year is going to be accompanied with a video of some sort of video that has something.
Awesome.
It's not ever just going to be the song. It'll always have like a lyric video or a music video or live music or live video. It's gonna have something.
Hell yeah. So, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for coming on and letting us play your song, this song, and also Second Chances back in January. And right now, if there's people that are listening, whether listening now live, later on YouTube, or down the road next week when this gets dropped on iTunes Showtime. Yeah, we get released on Showtime, Spotify, and Stitcher. Where can they find your music, your band? What are your social media @? What do you got?
So Facebook is / Don't Panic Official, and then Instagram is Don't Panic Just Rock, and Twitter is Don't Panic PA. Those are like the ones that I know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I wish they were all the same, but they're not.
We're dealing with that too. I changed the name of it because everything was under originally Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up for us, and then I was like, well, I mean, Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up is one show, and the whole channel's called Houseboat. We're doing other things. It's Houseboat Tommy Lee Jones. So I changed everything over to Houseboat Tommy Lee Jones, and now we're like, that's a really long title after 2 years. Maybe we should change the channel just to The Houseboat. So yeah, we've got like Houseboat TLJ, Houseboat _TLJ, because somebody selling houseboats somewhere took all the houseboat fucking ads. What a bunch of dicks. Who's buying them now? And actually, it's probably the safest place to be.
Who's buying houseboats off Instagram?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. So where is the music available? It's on Spotify.
Everything. We got we're on Spotify. We're on Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon, Google Plus, or whatever the hell you listen to on Google, whatever it's called. YouTube. We have our actual music video for our song "Fall '99." Is on YouTube and stuff, so I want people to watch that if they have a chance because it's fun.
Oh, it is. And if you're a fan of music, if you're a fan of pop punk specifically, but if you're a fan of the wonderful film series Back to the Future, it is so fucking fun. You guys, you really went at it, and I was super impressed with not only like the quality and the production value of that, but all of you guys just as characters, knowing the majority of you in one form or another, you and Keith more than the other guys. But like I've been, like I said, like up to like 12 years ago in a room when you guys were starting this thing and watching you at KC's, and you always had personalities, but you guys fucking let it go on this. Keith's animalistic crawling in that video, in just and then you as the Britney Spears looking character, you're just fucking short skirt, tied knot shirt and everything. It is, you guys did it. You went balls to the wall and you fucking nailed it. And
we had a good time.
It looked really fun. Now I had one question with that video. There's the shot. Almost everybody in the video are the four of you, but there's the shot of the guy with the push broom.
Oh, the janitor.
The janitor. Who is that guy? Because he looks super familiar. Is that a friend, or is that an actual actor? Because he looks like a guy from a movie, and I can't place it.
No, it's actually my cousin Neil.
Okay.
He came up the weekend, and I was talking to him, and he had nothing to do, and I was like, we're shooting a music video on whatever day it was, Monday. So I was like, you want to come hang out and like help? Because I had so much stuff in my house, all the props and costumes. And so I was like, do you want to give me a hand, like bringing all the stuff back and forth to, like, you know, the studio to Sherman, because where we shot it. And he was like, yeah, sure. He came up. But then while he was up, I was like, well, if you have any like fun costumes or anything, like bring your stuff too. Like, you know, we will come up with a fun idea while you're there.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted this janitor shot. So I was like, he had a jumpsuit. So I was like, hey, you're the janitor in this scene. So he was like, all right. And then the other scene we had him in was, there's like a quick clip. So Keith, our bass player, does like a whole dance routine from the movie Little Miss Sunshine.
Yep.
In the video.
Like literally the outfit's almost perfect, like everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
we
my
worked real
God.
hard on making sure the dance routine was the same and the costume was the same. But there was a shot where he tears his pants off, and it's shot in between his legs, but you could see us as the judges, because we played the judges also.
Yeah.
And Keith is obviously one of the judges. So we had to figure out, well, how are we going to do this shot? So we had my cousin Neil dress up in that Little Miss Sunshine costume.
That is great.
And yeah, and then
You
they
had a
shot,
leg
him
double.
ripping the pants off from between his legs.
That's
so if
awesome.
you watch the shot again, you could tell how much skinnier his legs are. So, and we were joking about that, and he was super embarrassed to come out like in like the red sparkle shorts. And
oh yeah.
But it was fun. I was glad he came because he helped a lot.
Yeah, no, that was he. I think the guy that I'm thinking. You remember that movie, The Girl Next Door? The one where it's like the porn star lives thing. He looks like the guy who's the director of that group of kids. And I don't know what else he's done.
Yeah, I remember who you're talking about.
Just that look, that sideways look he gives when he gets the wink or the kiss blown at him or whatever, and he gives that look when he's pushing the broom. I was just like, did they just randomly pull some guy? But it's perfect. Your cousin did a phenomenal job there. And then I did have, actually, we have one user-submitted question that I just want to ask you, and it kind of pertains to the, we were talking about with the lyric video, how there are a lot of, you got to be a little anal about the spelling on anything.
Sure.
I hear that Split 50 had a decent amount of spelling errors, and was that a grief to deal with from an anonymous source I'm just going to call Mr. Falcon for some reason. Mr. Falcon, possibly related to Vulgar Inc., Mr. Falcon, is asking that. Did you guys deal with a lot of spelling errors with that group?
You know what? I'll say this. I never got to write or spell check anything, so it was never on me.
All right.
I didn't do any artwork. I never did any website handling, so it wasn't me. But
you did the oohs and the ahs wonderfully back then. I remember going to see Split 50 back in the day, and my number one thing, I was friends with Bodwell's younger sister Jess. Like, we went to high school and junior high together. And we were in music programs together. And she was like, oh, my brother's in a band. And I was kind of like, kind of getting into the scene at this point. And then I went and saw you guys play. And I remember it was one of the first times I saw it when you were in the group, and it was like the five of you on stage and the in between the legs and everything, like all the fun performance shit you used to do. And you used to do the backwards jump, like when you're doing a guitar solo, do that Angus Young backwards jump thing. It was fucking great. It was always a good show. But you and Bodwell with the woes and the O's, I was just like, this is pop punk right here. O's and woes, you need them. They really, really tie it all together. All right. Well,
we got him.
Oh, they were perfect. All right, well, thank you again for joining us, letting us show everybody your music, and we look forward to the future releases. And again, all of his stuff again at Don't Panic Just Rock on Instagram. You can find him on all of the accounts that he already said: Spotify, iTunes, all of that stuff, Google, whatever music is. And as always, we like to wrap up our show by doing a little cross promotion between us and our brother sister love podcast. Let me ask you a question. Yeah. So here we go. Let me ask you a question from Let Me Ask You a Question.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
There we go. Now we're live. Now we're rocking. All right. So every week on Let Me Ask You a Question, Sir Anthony of the Angels, Mr. Anthony DeAngelis, likes to throw together a random question and ask both Gregaman and our super producer EJ5000 that wonderful question. And this week I was lucky enough, with the help of Justin, to be a guest on that podcast. We got to do a little promoting of our show. And so Anthony, he said he had another question in mind before he asked the ultimate question. Right. He had a very sexual, weird question in mind. But then he thought it'd be really funny to see Zach and Justin answer this question for whatever his reasons were. Now, me and those guys grew up together. We were in high school together. We did a lot of musical theater together. So his question was, and I'll let you guys answer it first, and Ted, we'll get to you after the two of them if you want to brainstorm a little bit, maybe what your answer is. What is your favorite Broadway musical, whether you've seen it on Broadway or not, but your favorite musical and why? What is a musical that you enjoy watching and why? It doesn't have to be the best musical. It doesn't have to be anything that is known by other people. Maybe it's a musical that your friend wrote and you saw 15 years ago. Justin, do you have one musical that you love and why?
All right, so every year we would go to Broadway to see the Nutcracker.
Okay, oh, nice.
You know, so that is probably my favorite Broadway play I've seen. I mean, I've seen Wicked. I haven't seen too many. Yeah. But my favorite musical is Repo the Genetic Opera.
Oh,
the movie is so awesome. It's such a great fucking movie.
I remember watching the Jude Law movie, like not the musical, and being like, oh yeah, Repo. Yeah, it was great. And then you were like, same thing. You're like, no, you got to watch the one with the music, man. Exactly. And I was like, oh, this one had RZA in it. I assumed it had the music, and you're like, no, different thing. Now, what was the first time you ever saw that? What was your exposure to that, and why?
Repo?
Yeah, why does that stick with you as your favorite?
I don't remember. I saw it when it came out. I don't remember the circumstances. I was living with Charlie up at the apartments, and I think it was me, Zach, Dylan, Adam, and I think we just all watched it one day, and it was just like the most over the top, like weird movie. It had Paris Hilton in it.
Yeah.
Like the concept of the movie was awesome. It was from the same dude that directed the original Saw. So like we were all intrigued in that. But it also had that feeling of, and I'm not a huge Rocky Horror fan. Okay. But it had that feel to it.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see it. It's like 30 years later, that's what you get in the same vein. Yeah,
like it had a lot of sort of like weird characters in that sense, and I don't know the story.
Have you ever seen it live or just the actual video?
No,
like the movie
I don't know
version?
if they have ever done it.
I've never heard of it being a live production. That's something that I'm sure in 15 years someone will be like, how the fuck has that not happened yet? Let's get on this. Yeah. All right, Zach, what about you? Any musical that you think is the best, your favorite? What is your answer to this one here? Nope. Just nope.
I'm not a fan of musicals.
Have you seen any live musicals in your life? Whether it was in school, on a field trip?
Yeah, just like ones they would make us watch at school on field trips.
Okay.
And then my cousin went to, I forget the name of the school. He went to whatever high school Will Smith went to.
Oh, yeah.
It's for acting and singing. And he was always in musicals. He was like Beast and Beauty and the Beast. I would get dragged along to that shit.
So you've never enjoyed a musical in your life?
I mean, technically, is the Wizard of Oz musical?
Yeah.
I enjoy watching the Wizard of Oz.
Now, do you enjoy it with the audio or just with Pink Floyd over it? Because that doesn't count.
I'll be honest with you, I could just watch it with Pink Floyd, and it'll be the same amount of enjoyment on my end. I can get through The Sound of Music.
Okay. So the classics, the Rodgers and Hammerstein, you can appreciate it.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang when you were a kid?
Disney movies, yeah. Like the Disney stuff
Bedknobs and broomsticks, all the weird stuff.
I guess that's technically a musical.
It's a musical.
But to me, that's more like a movie.
Yeah.
When I think of musical, like, God, I fucking hate watching a play. I absolutely despise
you got dragged to too many plays to ever make it enjoyable for you. You got dragged to too many
plays that you didn't want to see. Like, I still want to see the Harry Potter Broadway.
Yeah, my brother got to see that. He loved it.
Yeah, Keith was saying it was like watching actual magic on stage, which I'm pretty sure it was. Like, I don't know. There's some crazy shit that they do on actual stage compared to just film.
If I want to see a stage show, go see a band. Yep. I have no fucking desire in my heart to watch a goddamn play ever.
I hear you. Until the day that you and I and Justin write our Rubbish, the Garbage Man epic, the Broadway musical. Then you'll see that on Broadway, right?
There was also that other one.
I won't be happy.
You won't be happy about it.
Even if it's my play and we're making a ton of money, I'll just be like, this sort of sucks.
Now, question for you. Have you ever seen The Producers?
No.
All right, so one day you got to watch The Producers, just because that level of humor that Mel Brooks...
I don't like him.
You don't like Mel Brooks?
No.
Gene Wilder?
No.
Zero Mostel?
All right, then I guess that's...
Oh, wait, Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane. You don't like that version.
I don't like Nathan Lane.
I'm talking the 1967 version.
I just think of Nathan Lane, I'm just like... Ugh.
Oh, not a Birdcage fan over here. Not a Birdcage fan.
I love Birdcage.
I love it too. Oh my, Hank Azaria in that movie is one of the fucking best performances I've ever seen from anybody. Now, Ted, for you, any musical that you could list as your favorite? Are you a musical guy?
Yeah, so I'm actually a theater kid for when I was little. So I did a lot of that stuff. I've been to a lot of Broadway shows, a lot of off-Broadway shows. But you guys were including movies too. So if we're going to include movies, then the absolute best musical to me is the Muppet movie from 1997.
Oh my God!
I can watch a Muppet movie. Yeah, I don't have a problem with
bear in his natural habitat.
Yeah.
A Studebaker.
Every song in that movie is fucking awesome, and it's the Muppets, and the Muppets are awesome. So, if I'm choosing that's my absolute favorite. But I have a couple others. I really honestly like stage-wise. I like Les Miserables. I think the story is just really cool. So I always liked the setting, like the French Revolution, and I always thought that was really cool. And I like Avenue Q, if you've ever seen that.
I have seen parts of it, but that's not. All right. So the reason I know of Avenue Q is because of the Internet is for Porn, and that blew up with people making all kinds of stupid videos for it.
Sure.
It's
just like demented Sesame Street.
Yeah.
It's like all like puppets like banging each other and like yeah, that kind of stuff.
I do believe that on the episode of Let Me Ask You a Question, Avenue Q is one that Greg brings up as one that he was extremely intrigued by. Now, we are currently joined in the chat by Mr. Anthony DeAngelis himself, who is saying that this is bringing him so much joy, and he wished this were an all-Broadway, all-the-time podcast. That is what he was hoping for.
It'd be 2 minutes long. So you're saying you want a 2 minute
I just don't even want to be on the show anymore.
Yeah, Zach doesn't want to be
I'll
here.
find something better to do.
That's what Anthony's plan is, I believe. I believe that's what Anthony's plan. Now, my answer...
Okay, well, he can move in here.
Okay.
I'll slowly get all my shit out.
All right.
And he'll just become me. You're going to have to get fatter.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. But, wiener size, you guys are about the same, so you're good there.
Thanks.
Where it matters, you guys both have...
Where it matters, I ain't got much.
You both have something.
Thanks,
we'll
Daddy.
say that. Well, thanks, Daddy. You blame your dad for your small dick? Last week we ended the show by talking about Justin's giant cock, and this week we're ending it Talking about your tiny one and blaming your father for it.
I can't wait till my mom watches this.
Oh, they do.
And the
they
last
do.
one.
They're going to be great. Now, my answer, and you can go again onto Spotify. You can go onto podcast app for Apple, Apple iTunes, whatever you want to look at, and you can look at Stitcher to see my answer for this. But I will let you know. Well, I'll tell you my answer, but you got to go there. We talk a lot about Anne Margaret's breasts in this episode, and my obsession with Anne Margaret because of the movie based on the play Bye Bye Birdie, which is it's set in the late 1950s, early 1960s, and it is a tale about basically Bye Bye Birdie. Conrad Birdie is supposed to be Elvis Presley, and he's going to the army, and he's picking one girl to give one last kiss to, and they just pick a name out of a hat, out of his fan club, and they have him go to this small town and sing to a girl, and it's just like this whole story. But the music is aimed kind of more at that 1950s, 1960s feel. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I also would list West Side Story kind of for the same reasons.
Yeah, that's a great one.
West Side Story musically, I just thoroughly love.
Grease not on your list, then?
Grease is absolutely the fucking worst piece of shit I've ever seen in my whole life.
I know probably every word to Grease. I know
Grease
so
is
much
absolute
Grease.
garbage.
You don't like Grease?
Yeah. It's garbage, dude.
We got it across the board on this side over here. This side over here does not like Grease. Over here, I don't know. It's all right.
Whatever.
It's all right. It's
okay.
okay.
I'll drink
my
transmission
takeaway
fluid.
at the end of Grease was, if you change yourself enough, you'll get accepted by everybody.
And then if you watch Grease 2, they just reinstate that.
Lesson.
Yeah, exactly. If you watch Grease 2, which is an amazing sequel and it stars Michelle Pfeiffer, it basically just reinstates it just from the guys can change for girls too is basically the moral of Grease.
Now, you also haven't seen a Broadway show.
I've never seen a play actually on Broadway, but I've been in enough off-Broadway, performed, Shawnee Playhouse, did enough growing up, and worked with people that eventually moved on to. I mean, Anthony has worked on and off Broadway. Sure. One of my oldest friends, Doreen, is currently cast in Mrs. Doubtfire on Broadway, and that was opening 3 days after. Or 3 days before all of this shutdown happened, so they had done some tests. So I have connections to people that have done Broadway, but I myself
this guy fucking
have
knows
never seen.
people.
I know a couple of people.
I know a couple of Broadway stars.
I know a couple two tree.
Two trees.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, go check out. Let me ask you a question. You can find it on moot.tv. Just go open up your web browser, moot.tv, and you can check out that. And there's also Derek D's Dozen, I think is the name of the new podcast. I have to double check it, but Derek D's Dozen is the newest member of the moot.tv family. He does a 12-minute podcast. Yes. So it's just a 12-minute podcast, and I believe it's Anthony. Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's his cousin, who is a stand-up comedian who has been a guest multiple times on Let Me Ask You a Question. So go check out that and old episodes of White Wasabi. Again, Ted, I want to give you a huge thanks for joining us. We got through all the technical difficulties. It was officially it's done. We did it. We did it. Thank you so much. Time. You can go charge all of your devices that have now been drained over the last hour and a half. Dead. It's all going to be dead. Well, again, thank you so much. Go check out Don't Panic again at Don't Panic. Dozen. Derek D. Dozen. There you go. Don't Panic at Don't Panic. Don't Panic. Just rock.
Official.
And Don't Panic official. Just look for Don't Panic and don't click on anything that is associated with that book series that totally stole your name from you. 100% stole your name from you. All right. And again, a big thank you to the guys over at Moot.tv, Eric, Anthony, Gregaman, Derek, everybody that is now part of the Moot.tv family. A big ups to EJ. Big ups to Denver. And big ups to EJ 5000 for getting us out there to all of the masses. As always, a huge thank you to Mr. Justin Olimpado for putting this all together, dealing with all of the technical issues that we always seem to find a way to find a new technical issue.
It's going to happen.
It's going to. And then last but least, Mr. Zachary.
Every time you say Anne Margaret, I think of Margaret Thatcher.
Anne Margaret Thatcher is my new band name. Stormin'. All right, there we go. So check out the new album from Anne Margaret Thatcher. She is the iron red-headed lady lady. And I am Kyle Boga for Kyle Boga Won't Shut Up. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week live. We're going to have Ego Viking. Yeah. Ego Viking, nice Twitch streamer, who, I'm just saying this right now, he looks like all of us, joined forces and became, our, what is it?
Voltron?
Yeah, our Voltron. He's our Voltron.
Swedish Voltron.
He's our Swedish Voltron. He's got, literally beard, he's just in stature, your tone, and then, my features, and it's just a weird, I saw a video, and I was like, oh my fucking God, this is going to be great. So check back for that, and then we're going to have new featured music as well coming to you from the Midnight Horror. So go check them out. They're a fun, horror punk band.
Maybe we'll sing in Hungarian.
Yeah, French. Next week we're gonna fucking pick a new language and make some new dance music. Anthony is gonna be waiting for his polka song though, so we gotta go on the polka at some point.
Oh yeah, well we'll have to sing in German.
We'll have to sing in German. German polka might be right around the corner for you guys. All right.
I grew up with a lot of German polka. Not the musicals, but the German polka.
You grew up with a lot of German pokers too. A lot of Germans just poking you with their fingers and their cocks. That's what they were doing. That's how you grew up. I hope your dad listens to the end of this episode like he does every episode. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. For Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up, I'm Kyle Mocha, shutting up a little bit. Here's our closing song to play us out. The best song we've ever written.
Go fuck yourself.
All right, Zach said it. It's the end of the show. We'll see you guys next time.
Fuck the fans.
Fuck the fans. Fuck everybody. That's what we do here. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay happy. Drink beer.
Yeah.
Peace.
Later.
Mood.tv.
There's nothing more egomaniacal than singing the theme music for your own show. Who am I? Kelsey Grammer. If I could only drink like him, we're gonna write a new one every week. Some will be solid, some will be